Good morning, everybody. Hey, welcome to this Wednesday, the 25th of September. Hey, hope you're doing well today as we head into a record territory again. Both the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones Industrial Average both hit record highs yesterday. We'll talk about that and more when we talk with Dave here in just a few seconds. Hey, before we do that, though, let's not forget that in this world we live in, there are so many things that are out of our control. You can take control of your investment portfolio by knowing the amount of risk that you have in that portfolio and knowing how much risk you should have based on your current age, how close you are to retirement. All those factors come into play. Make sure you don't have too much risk in your portfolio. Give us a call at 863-382-0037. Hey, with that, we got Dave coming up next.
7 Highlands Light FM. Good morning and hello. I'm so glad you're here today. It's 8:43. Check in on your money and find out how Wall Street's doing this morning. How's your IRA and 401k trading? And for the last few days, been pretty doggone good, and yesterday wasn't bad either. See if we can keep the momentum going with Phillip Statler from Statler Financial Services in downtown Sebring. Phillip, good morning. How are you?
Hey, good morning, David. Doing well today as we prepare, I guess, for tropical storm weathers tomorrow.
It's a good possibility. I mean, the update at the 8 o'clock track pretty much kept things where they were overnight last night. Landfall south of Tallahassee tomorrow evening. They did upgrade things as far as along the path, though. It's going to be a full-blown 120-mile-an-hour Category 3 when it's right opposite the Bay of Tampa Bay and starts squirting all that water up the bay at them. So they're going to have kind of a greasy time over the next 36 hours in Tampa. Here we've got some gusts tomorrow, and with a little bit of luck, gusts and rain are all we're going to see because the chance of steady state tropical storm winds is still only about 20%. So the luxury of living inland in Florida, right?
That's right. Every now and then we get lucky.
Yeah, we do, and I've been saying all morning. Everybody that remembers Charlie and Irma with unexpected turns, we still need to keep a weather eye. But right now, it looks like it's just going to be wind and rain for us. Talking about the finances and the market from yesterday, we had another good day. 2 new all-time highs on the Dow and the Standard & Poor's. Dow was up by 84 points yesterday. That was 0.2%. Standard & Poor's up 0.25% to another new record high, up 14. NASDAQ is starting to catch up. It's now back over 18,000. It was up a full 0.5%, up 100 points yesterday. And I was kind of surprised by that because the consumer confidence number that we got yesterday morning was kind of a disappointment, wasn't it?
It was, Dave. You know, the expectation was that it was going to increase from what it was the prior month, and it actually decreased. The expectation was 104, and it came in at 98.7, and that compares to 103.3 last month. So it is a decline. So, but it really didn't put much pressure on the markets at all yesterday.
No, actually, when it came out, the charts that I had actually showed a bump upward. Kind of surprised me. Maybe the things that are contributing to it is a survey that I found out of the conference board this morning. The number of people saying that jobs are, quote unquote, plentiful versus those that say they're hard to get. That number, it still is positive. Don't get me wrong. It's still relatively easy to find a new job, but we're declining rapidly in terms of people that say, hey, finding a new job is easy. That kind of squares up with what we got on the national figures. It's just getting a little bit more dicey if you decide to want to change jobs because finding a new one isn't as easy as it used to be, and that kind of messes with consumer confidence.
Well, it does. You know, the whole jobs thing that plays big into consumer confidence, right? If you have a job, then you know you're a little bit more confident about what's going to happen than if you don't. So that definitely plays into it.
Yeah, absolutely. The other report we got out yesterday showed U.S. home prices notched another record high. Didn't go up as much as they expected it to, I gather, but still, housing is still at a record high price, which good news for sellers, bad news for buyers, right?
Well, that's right. They continue to go up, 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 and let's remember now that is the index that we're quoting there only looks at 20 cities. It's the Case-Shiller Home Price Index. So, though I think our pricing has softened up a little bit here in Highlands County. And so, but remember, we stayed high longer than a lot of other areas did.
Yeah, we benefited from folks moving in like, okay, fine, somebody gets whacked in Tampa, can't stand the storm over this weekend, say to heck with it, move inland. We kind of benefit from bad news over on the coast, from homeowners insurance to weather events, don't we?
We do, and we benefit from people that live in those high tax states as well.
Absolutely, both ways run. Brings us up to the morning, kind of dovetailing off of the housing price numbers from yesterday. I got the mortgage application index in, and that was kind of interesting as we were expecting a bump after the federal interest rate decrease last week. We got it mostly on refinances, though. The mortgage applications index was up 11% last week, but 56% of the applications were for refinances. Can't imagine why. All these people have bought 8% mortgages. They look at 6.09 and say, quick, let's do it, right?
Well, that's right. I think that I will say, though, they may be getting a little ahead of the game, right? I mean, yeah, it makes sense for some folks to do it, but there's also a thinking that maybe you wait until the first quarter or first half of next year because the expectation is we're going to get another quarter, half a point this year, and we may get a quarter next year. So, we're talking about you could be down another 3/4 of a point by waiting just a few months.
That's true. And the overall prevailing rate still is a little bit of on a delay. We didn't go down the full 0.5% on the average mortgage rate yet. May happen down the line, but still, it hasn't really declined that much. Nevertheless, it was 175% of last year's numbers. So evidently, some folks really needed some relief on their mortgage prices and doing it quickly because it really was kind of a boom last week on mortgage applications. Other tidbits I've come up with, China has finally pushed the panic button. Their central bank overnight announced a plan on yesterday to turbocharge their economy. It came when one of my columnists said. They're doing interest rate cuts. They're doing fiscal changes. China all of a sudden has noticed that the economy over there really stinks, and they're evidently throwing every gun they've got at it. We'll see the reaction from the Chinese markets when we do the overseas, but mainland Chinese markets were actually the stars this past weekend or this past day. And maybe that will bleed over to a little bit of optimism for us, given the fact that they are one of our largest trading partners.
Well, definitely, they are one of our biggest trading partners, and so it's kind of like they say: you get the flu, and it spreads from country to country. The economic flu, that is, and so when things go well in other countries, well, we start to benefit from that.
Absolutely. I've always said we don't want China to win necessarily, but we really don't want them to tank either, because that's not in our interest. As you said, the flu on one shore can turn into pneumonia on the other shore, and we don't want that either. Housing got so doggone much attention between the home prices and the MBA application index. Kind of interested. How did KB Homes do, the big home builder, when they reported?
So they came in and missed, actually.
Oops.
Yep, weaker than expected. They missed by 2 cents a share, came in at $2.04. Their margins, year over year, gross margins on their homes fell. And so not good news for KB Homes. They're down almost 5.5% this morning before we get going. So again, yeah, that's a big drop for them. We got two other companies that aren't necessarily household names, but are important for businesses as well. Progress Software is a company that helps other businesses develop apps, software applications within their systems, and so they're a behind-the-scenes technology infrastructure type company, and they had a good quarter. They came in at $1.26 versus $1.14. They're up a little over 5% this morning. Another company we had is called Worthington Enterprises. Now, they have a lot to do with building, both interior and exterior, from the best I can tell. And so they missed as well. And they had a pretty big miss. Expectation was for them to earn 71 cents. They only earned 50 cents a share. They're down 4%. Now, we did have a couple downgrades. I'm gonna tell you, the biggest downgrades we had was for Morgan Stanley. They downgraded General Motors and Ford. So you can imagine if you downgrade those two auto companies, what that's doing to the industry as a whole.
I hear they also downgraded Rivian, which is nowhere near as big as the others, but it sounds like the entire sector is falling out of favor, doesn't it?
It does, and I think that that's putting pressure definitely on the broader indexes like the S&P 500 this morning as we get ready to trade.
That's not fun when you take an entire business category and downgrade it. It kind of makes investors sit up and take notice, doesn't it?
It does. It does for sure.
Seeing that, I'm kind of surprised the amount of red ink we got this morning isn't bigger than it was. I'm kind of looking at it and thinking, I'm almost thinking that's profit-taking numbers. 45 minutes before we open, what are we looking at?
Well, we actually have kind of a mixed bag now on the indexes, Dave. The Dow's up 1/100% $5. Hey, but it's positive now.
Now I can buy Mom that operation.
That's right there. S&P 500 is up 2/107%. That's $1.20. The Nasdaq 100 is heading down by about 0.1% this morning before we get going. So, not where we thought it should be. Hold on just a second. I got to find my commodities because my one on my computer's not working. All right, so we've got silver is actually down about 0.9%, but over 32. So it had a good day yesterday at $32.15 an ounce. Gold's up about 0.1%, and then I'm sorry, gold's up about 1/3%, and crude oil is down almost 1.9%. It looks like $70.22 a barrel, Dave.
Well, at least it's heading in the right direction. Overseas markets, I mentioned China getting real aggressive on stimulating their economy, and it shows. Around the Asian Rim, everybody was up, but the mainland Chinese markets that have been absolutely tanking for the last few months, both were up between 1.1 and 1.2% in one day at the 6 a.m. close this morning. Even the Hong Kong markets were up by 0.2%, and they sometimes aren't that happy when mainland China does well. Everybody was up, though. Over in the European theater, they're also saying, because, hey, they trade with China a lot as well, they're almost universally up. Pretty much everybody but the German markets are up halfway through their day, and they've got some political upheaval going on in Germany. The overall European index is up by about 0.1% halfway through their trading day. Getting my retirement together so I can count on being able to retire someday should be a top priority for just about everybody. Doesn't even matter what the age is. How do I find you to get that plan in place?
Dave, that's exactly why I developed the Core Retirement Design to help people design that retirement they always dreamed of. Give us a call at 863-382-0037. Let me take a minute here just to announce that we have moved our office. Now, we are no longer on Ridgewood Drive. We are now at 145 West Center Street. So that's in the same building as Swain and Liddell. So you can come visit us there. And then join us this weekend for the Statler Financial Radio Show, 6 a.m. and noon on Saturday, 10 a.m. Sunday morning on Highlands News Talk, 7:30 a.m. and 95.3 FM.
And back here again tomorrow morning to fill you in as to what went on with kind of a flat start this morning, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Looking that way right now.
We'll see you then, sir. It's 105.7 Light FM and Statler Financial Services, Phillip Statler.
Hey, folks, again, I want to thank you for joining us. Take caution. All the stuff going on, the hurricanes, winds coming this way. Pay attention and have a great day. We'll be with you again tomorrow, even if it's from the house. Take care. Talk to you soon. Bye now.